All right, go for it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I am back again. Just after I got off the show with the crypto boys, I'm here, and I'm with the main man, the man of the time that we have with him, is Charles Hugh Smith. Charles Hugh Smith of Two Minds Blog, folks. If you haven't checked out twomindsblog.com, check it out. Charles Hugh Smith is a prolific writer, author, and thinker and tinkerer, as he comes up with wild, amazing ideas that for the betterment of humanity. Find his work on Two Minds Blog. Oh my God, I'm tongue tied here, Charles. I'm tongue tied. You can check out his work on twomindsblog.com. Did I say that right, Charles?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? I did,
yeah,
right?
that's fine. Of twominds.com. Okay. Yeah.
Of twominds.com. And he also writes for Zero Hedge. Get his books. We love his work. Charles Hugh Smith, he's here. He's here. The Supreme Infidel. He's here.
Thank you, V.
I'm wired today, Charles. I don't know what it is.
Thank you, V. Well, hey, you're excited about a lot of stuff. Why don't you tune me into what you're looking at today?
Yes. Charles, I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you what I made.
Well, I'm listening.
Charles, I solved the problem of liquidity and utility and fungibility in the crypto space. We launched Liquidbase. Liquidbase.io is official. And now everybody who's been having a problem, hey, I don't want to liquidate my cryptos because if I try to liquidate through Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, they're going to hit me with a 1099-K, and I'm going to have to report everything to the taxing jurisdictional authority of where I live. It's going to be a problem. Well, no more. Whether they have $5,000, Charles, or they have $5 billion with a B, whatever currency it is, whatever cryptocurrency they're using, if they got $5 billion in crypto, we can liquidate it. Bring it over to liquidbase.io. We quickly swap out the crypto with using our patented technique to swap it with LBMA certified gold. This is pedigreed, serial numbered, licensed gold. This is gold that has a pedigree to it. That's legitimate. It's real. It's outside of the banking system. And once it's in gold, they have a couple of options, man. They can either store it and use it as a bank account, right? Where they need it, they can draw down from it, okay? They can have it delivered directly to their house, okay? Or they could immediately liquidate it. So whatever they have, they can immediately liquidate all their gold holdings within 24 hours and have it wired into the bank account they're choosing anywhere in the world in a choice of up to 24 fiat currencies. That means, dollars, yens, pounds, yuan, Aussie dollars, Norwegian krona, Swiss francs, whatever floats your boat. Game-changing service. Right now we have some of the biggest players, Charles. I kid you not. Some of the biggest players. I'm talking about people that own upward of 7. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to get out. We're talking about people that own north of 1 million Bitcoins. Okay? Have contacted us wanting to utilize our service. Think about that for a second. Not $1 million in Bitcoin. I'm talking about 1 million, north of 1 million Bitcoins.
Right, which would be like $630 million at today's price. And
yeah.
Serious.
That's what they hold.
Yeah.
Heavy hitters, Charles. Heavy hitters. And this we brought to the public. People are like, well, you need to make the minimum of 100,000. No. 5,000. There's a lot of people out there that have at least 5,000 in cryptos that they can move.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Let's say somebody as a newbie and they only have fiat right now. They have fiat currency. They got cash and fiat currency, and they want to move that into Liquidbase, and then they want to move that into cryptos and gold. Can they do it from that way, or is it sort of a one-way vector?
Depends on the amount. Like if it's somebody with a lot of cash, then we can always broker a sale on the OTC market, and get a buyer for them, or find a seller for them. Excuse me. But if they don't have a lot, and it's just the nature of the beast. If they don't have a lot, then I would always recommend, hey, you got like 5 or 10 grand, come to us. What we can do is we can put you in gold, silver, platinum, or palladium, and then it's a highly liquid account. So we could liquidate for you guys and get it into your hands, or we could ship it directly to your front door. Either way.
So
But in terms of getting crypto, we will be adding that feature though. Eventually, we're working on it with a few people, with a few organizations, so that if somebody comes up to us and say, you know what, I want $10,000 in crypto, want to buy it on the spot, and they don't want to go through Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, or one of those other exchanges
exchange.
that are out there, they can do
Yeah.
it. Eventually,
Okay.
we'll have that.
Okay, that's good to know. So basically, I've got some crypto in let's say I've got some crypto in a wallet, and I want to transfer out of my wallet
Mm-hmm.
into Liquidbase. Then
Yes.
it's just the same process as paying somebody or transferring money, right? I get my address
Yep.
of my crypto, and then I have my account in Liquidbase,
Yep.
and voila, right? Click.
That's it. And what you do is once you go to Liquid Base, you sign up on it, and we do a KYC on you. And the KYC is done in a matter of a couple of minutes, maybe an hour or so. The KYC is not for us to report on you. The KYC is just to verify that you are who you say you are, that you're not some international terrorist, okay, that you're not on some wanted list with Interpol, you're not a money launderer or a drug kingpin from Mexico. You're not part of the Sinaloa cartel, or you're some Colombian cocaine trafficker, or you're some Afghan warlord. We want to make sure that once you're not that, all your transactions with us remain private. All of our back end office is overseas. Our partners are in Hong Kong. Our back end partner is J.R. Rothbard Commodities, which is a long time member of the Singapore Bullion Association, as well as the London Bullion Market Association as well. So anybody comes to us, once you pass KYC, you're good to go. It's just a simple thing of shooting your Bitcoin wallet, whatever you want, into our BTC. We then go ahead and we do the conversion for you and have it wired into your bank account. You ready for this? Anybody who's worked on OTC will tell you, if you're dealing with a large amount, it could take days and days and weeks sometimes. But with us, it's 3 to 5 business days for any amount under $50,000. It's 3 to 5 business days, and then any amount over that, we're talking about hundreds of thousands to hundreds of millions of dollars. We could have it done and turned around in about 5 to 7 business days, which is astronomically fast.
That sounds good. Now, like for small fry like myself, let's say that I think that gold is starting to finally base, and I think it's going to be, maybe going to get a little appreciation finally, blah, blah, blah. So I want to transfer some cryptos into gold and just let it sit in gold. I can do that with Liquid Base, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Once it's in gold, you have complete flexibility. And Charles, it's going to be pretty cool because eventually we're going to be rolling out, my partners overseas, we're going to be rolling out a lending program. So businesses, personal individuals, they can we'll have a lending program. They can lend against the value of their gold holdings, which is great, kind of like what Salt does. But instead of having some sort of crypto, it's gold backed, the loan. So which is going to be pretty awesome. We've already beta tested. We did about $10 million worth of loans already. And then the other thing we're going to be doing is our we're going to be rolling out eventually our debit card. So if you're holding cryptos and you're holding gold with us over at Liquidbase, you will have a debit card in which that you can draw down from. So you can take your cryptos, you can take your gold, and spend it as if you would a regular debit or credit card. So now we've brought fungibility, utility, and liquidity into the cryptoverse. So right now, Charles, we have all the tools in the world to divest ourselves from traditional banking structures. It's just the question right now is, do we all have the courage to do so?
Right. One last practicality. There's a lot of tokens and coins out there, and as you mentioned, the big exchanges are pretty limited in cryptocurrencies they
I'm
cover, right?
this. This is good.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, let's say I have like one of my interests right now is a crypto token called Decred, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, Decred, yeah. And I mean, a lot of people have EOS, and there's a lot of other stuff out there. So can people with the non-top 5 cryptos and tokens, can they use Liquidbase? Liquidbase, yeah. Can they transfer their crypto into your system?
Yeah, we can liquidate up to 25 cryptocurrencies. Technically, we could do up to 25.
Okay.
We like using the top 10. Okay, so your Monaros, your Zcash, your Dashes. I mean, if you go to let me pull up the website right now. If you go to Liquidbase, LIQUIDBASE.io, and it's a beautiful site. Liquidity is a product. Securely exchange your cryptos into gold, metals, and cash. This is what we're doing currently. We got Bitcoin, Litecoin, Viacoin, EOS, Dash, Bytecoin, Waivers, Ripple, Quantum, Elastic, Ethereum, Nano, Bancor, Monero, NEM, Next, Dogecoin, VChain, RChain, Dogecoin, Zcash, Stellar, Cardano, IOTA, Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin Cash, Tether, Binance Coin, Icon, Tron, Populous, Stratus, Steem, Neo, Verge, and Maker. Those are all the top 25 cryptos that we can liquidate. So so when you guys are ready to liquidate, you just bring it over to us. We'll take care of it.
That's good to know. I think Decred is like number 26 or 27 or something like that. But yeah, that's good to know. So then you transfer, if you have even smaller tokens, you transfer them into one of the top 25 and then you're good to go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you're not in the top 25, just you could always go to Binance and quickly exchange whatever token you have into a token that we accept. Bring it over. We got a lot of people coming over from Monero because they love the privacy of it. You got people coming in from Zcash because of the privacy, the anonymity that it provides. And then we're just the additional layer. We're outside of the jurisdictional authorities. We have our vaults are in Zurich, in the Swiss free trade zone, in Singapore, in the Singaporean free trade zone, and in Hong Kong, in the Hong Kong free trade zone. And this puts it outside of the reach of these governments and stuff. So if you have an issue with a notorious Western power, Uncle Samsonite, okay, and he comes knocking on your door, waving the 4-4, and he's threatening you that you got to give up this. Well, they can't threaten us because it's really literally outside of U.S. jurisdictional authority. They just literally can't do nothing. It's impossible. So you guys want to, you want to talk about freedom. You want to talk about, leverage. You want to talk about, just a great solution for people. This is it. Liquidbase is it. Liquidbase is the first of its kind in the world. It's the only one of its kind in the world. And I'm proud to be the creator of this bad boy.
Right. No, I think you have a lot to be proud of. And I think, even setting aside the tax issues, what I think is so valuable is the liquidity between the precious metals, crypto, and fiat, right? Because everybody's conditions, all of our needs and our situations are in change. They're changing, and the markets are changing. And so when you see something that's bottoming out, like perhaps gold is finally, forming a long base here, and you want to move some of your assets into gold, then it's really easy to do this without having to go through from a crypto exchange into fiat and then into some gold exchange. And so what are the transaction fees here for me to move from crypto to gold? I mean,
Sure. Anything under $100,000 is a flat 7%. Anything above that is 5%. Okay, and then you're talking about like the really high numbers, like you're talking the 7-8 figures. Then it's that's going to be something that's going to be negotiated between the buyer and seller, and whatnot. But that's typically how it runs. Compare that in contrast to Coinbase. Coinbase has a variable fee that could be as high as 10%. And they report on you. And depending on what you hold, the internal revenue, they could hit you with 39.6% as a maximum tax. And that is from the latest document that they put out in terms of cryptocurrencies with the IRS. You folks could look that up yourselves. The beauty of gold is this, because it's not fiat. It's outside of the banking system. It's in the LBMA good delivery system, which is free of any third-party counter risk. It's not fiat currency. So when we do liquidate from the gold and it goes directly into your account, you might say to yourself, okay, you know what? I just got $100,000 wired into my account. What do I do? How do I report it? Well, if you want to go ahead and report that to your taxing jurisdiction authority, you simply go to them and say, hey, listen, I want to report this $100,000. They're going to ask you, where did it come from? And you simply say, it came from the sale of gold, which it did. And there's no lie about it. There's nothing nefarious about that. We're not using fiat currencies. We're using cryptocurrencies in order to buy a commodity. And that's something that's pretty innocuous. And now that money comes in because of the sale of gold. And guess what? Now it's because it came from gold, it's capital gains. So instead of getting hit with 40% tax, at the most you're going to be paying is 15%, which I think is great.
Right. No, absolutely. And that's the strategy I would, I personally use too, is hold everything for a year so that you report long-term capital gains 15%, and then that way you're good with your government of choice, or non-choice, but you're legal, and then you've minimized your tax exposure or liability.
Exactly.
Well, this is very exciting, and I think that I think you guys are kind of getting the firstest with the mostest, because I've been contacted by people and read stuff where a lot of people are trying to connect those and precious metals, because these are the two sort of safe havens that people are looking to avoid the Venezuelan type destruction of capital that happens when you trust fiat only. One of the topics I wanted to talk about, bounce off of you guys and see what your opinion was, or draw upon your larger experience in cryptos, is one of the reasons I'm interested in this Decred token is that it's governance, and this is an issue that, as investors, we maybe don't really care so much about, like, how is the token or the crypto being governed? And of course, what we've discovered, and I'm not speaking as an expert, just as an interested, an interested amateur, but, Bitcoin is decentralized. But what we discovered was some really big miners can start taking control of the direction of the protocol, right?
Yep.
And so that worries a certain part of the community, I think, with good reason, right? Because you don't want centralized power in any way, shape, or form, no matter how well-meaning, right? We all know how that goes. The road to heck is paved with good intentions. So you want to sort of, if you can, you want to enforce a decentralized governance. And so what the Decred system is, you own a unit of the currency, a token, you have a vote. If you set that token aside, it has to be set aside for some period of time, 90 to 120 days. So the only people who get to vote are people who have a stake in the system, who are holding it. To use Nassim Taleb's famous phrase, or phrase that he has popularized again, is skin in the game, right? So the only people who get to vote for the protocol is people who own it and are willing to set it aside. They're not like day traders of the currency, and so or the asset. So I think that's a very good innovation, and I think other people may be doing similar things. But I think we really have to look, those of us who really care about the crypto sector and want to see it become dominant and accessible and ubiquitous, then we have to look at that kind of governance issue. And so innovations are coming up in all kinds of ways, and I think the innovations in governance are really important. I don't know, what do you guys think about the whole governance issue?
You talking about government, or are you talking about the centralizing of control by the miners?
Mostly like the governance of each crypto. Like, who gets to have a say in whether the protocol changes? And
I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. When you have centralized control where a bunch of miners are calling the shots, and they're all of a sudden they see themselves as the Ubermensch, the initiates who decides what is best for us and what's worst for us. That's a problem. I think the governance of a commodity should be left to the market to decide. And again, look, launching Liquid Base has showed us who's really out there. And the OTC world is absolutely massive, because when we're dealing with cryptocurrency companies, and we start dealing with cryptocurrency entities that are out there north of 1 million bitcoins, not $1 million, but 1 million bitcoins or more, that's when you're talking about in the realm of these miners. And it is quite scary to see how much control they truly have, because depending on what they put into the market, what they put into circulation, what they decide to offload, what they decide to, hey, you know what, we're not going to mine Bitcoin anymore. We're going to switch operations here. These things affect, and it becomes, Bitcoin becomes, it falls victim to the edicts of a few rather than the crucible, so to speak, rather than the crucible of the market. So it's never given wholeheartedly to the crucible of the market. So the market could dictate what the actual price is, number one. And number two, the development that it slows down development. And love them or hate them, a lot of people are like, oh, Roger Ver is pumping and dumping, Bitcoin Cash, blah, 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 blah. But when you look at like BTC, Bitcoin Cash, and what they're doing, they're really pushing the envelope of what the utilitarian aspect of it, of Bitcoin Cash is, and other like coins. Because it's important. Because the more coins that people have, the better off it will be for everybody. So when you have a centralized control by a bunch of miners who are having it, and technically, on paper, it's not centralized, but if you're holding, tens of millions of bitcoins out away from the market and you're dumping here and there, you are manipulating the price, and it's not in the benefit of the people. It's you really have to question what the real motives are here, Charles. So yeah, I agree with you, man. I think it needs to be decentralized. I think there shouldn't be any centralized control, and those who call the shots should be the market, because we are the market and we're the ones who have skin in the game.
That's right. And in this Decred system, it's the owners of the tokens who get to vote on changes in the protocol. And I think that's going to be a broader base than just the miners. And so another topic I wanted to bring up and see what you guys thought was the whole idea of diversification. Like you mentioned, Monero and Zcash, and BCH, Bitcoin Cash, and then there's Litecoin, and so and the Lightning Network in the Bitcoin community, and so there's all these sort of specializations occurring, which is I think quite a positive thing, because that's kind of the way that the ecosystem, the natural ecosystem works, right? That you have species which specialize in order to occupy a niche, and so I'm kind of excited about the idea that not as a speculator so much, but as a holder, of developing like a portfolio. In other words, instead of concentrating all your capital in one or two cryptos, that as we learn more about the benefits of each niche, that you can kind of start developing a diversified portfolio within the cryptocurrencies. And from the outside, people go, oh, well, crypto, it's all it's all one thing, and it's a bubble that's popped and blah blah blah. But if you're more informed, then you start realizing, well, gee, maybe I should have a diversified portfolio, given that there's strengths to a variety of strengths that are localized within a variety of tokens and cryptos. What's your opinion on diversification?
I think it's vital. I think in this stage of the game where things are so infant in its development, I mean, the cryptocurrency market is so new, even this many years in, it's still a baby. Diversification is key, because you don't exactly know. And I think the best way to learn to diversify, Charles, is for people to come check out the crypto school, the cryptoschool.io, where people can go there. And Charles, remind me to send you an affiliate link, man. I think it'll really benefit you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah. Help bring some revenue in for you, help you out. We've had a lot of people go through the crypto school, the cryptoschool.io. We have what's called a video education series. We have about 15 to 20 videos detailing for you what you need to do, what exchanges are good, how to create a wallet, how to move cryptocurrencies around, how to go from crypto to fiat, the whole 9 yards. And once you have that all taken care of, you viewed all that, the next thing that you can do is check out our trading room, the Watch Us Trade Room, And in the Watch Us Trade Room, you can go ahead and you could start learning how to trade, and you could learn how to trade. You could learn how to really make a profit, even when the market's bad. Even in this blood market where people have lost so much, our trade room is pretty much one of the few that have maintained profitability even in this downturn that we're all experiencing. So it's been quite amazing. So the cryptoschool.io, I will send you an affiliate link, Charles. I promise.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that's a natural for me, and for my readers. And it's worth mentioning, I think, right now, like how little penetration cryptocurrency ownership has compared to other assets. And gold bugs, of which I'm an honorary member. The gold bugs are all like, hey, nobody owns any gold or silver. I mean, like, amongst the average general populace. And of course, the number of people who actually own crypto is even smaller. And so, I mean, your average person might not know anybody that owns any crypto, or maybe a handful, less than 5 people. So, what you're doing in terms of offering education is just fantastic, because you shouldn't invest unless you know something about what you're investing in. First thing, educate yourself, and then you'll be able to make informed decisions. And this ties into another topic. I wrote a piece that's up on my site today about, like, dear high school graduates, like, what kind of advice am I offering people who are just getting out of high school? And the first thing I'm saying is, well, you deserve like a realistic appraisal of the economy you're entering, like not some kind of BS about how, oh, you're good to go as soon as you get a 4-year college degree, and that's all you need, and just go borrow $100,000 and you'll be fine. It's all like, no, that doesn't work. All those old models are broken. And so part of what's broken is this whole idea of trusting fiat currency and buying stocks and bonds, and then thinking that that's diversification.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Charles, let me ask you this. We have a few minutes left. I know we started the show pretty late. What's on your radar? What's the big things that has you up thinking? What are some of the things that maybe that have you writing about? What's that? What are some of those key topics?
Okay. Yeah. One was just to approach, like, what kind of advice am I offering here as alternatives to, like, buy stocks and bonds and then forget about them, hold them for the long term, like the conventional wisdom. And the reason why I'm approaching that now is I think we're entering unstable times, troubled times, right? Where all those the existing models that have been, the can's been kicked down the road for a decade, right? From 2008 and 9, they've propped up basically a rotten, corrupt system. But none of these structural problems have been addressed. And so now they're starting to come to the fore, despite all the efforts of repression and basic illusory growth, illusory prosperity. So now you see the Eurozone under pressure. You see trade, global trade, which was filled with imbalances, coming under pressure. You see fiat currencies in Iran and in Venezuela starting to blow up and drop to zero. And so a lot of this stuff is happening, and so we have to look at it like, if we're on the right side of these changes, then they're going to be very beneficial. But if we stick to the status quo and put all of our faith in that, then we're going to be destroyed along with the rest of the people who are believing that the status quo is permanent, it's good, it can't ever devolve and basically fall apart. And yeah, I think we're seeing that it's falling apart right now on a structural level. The other interesting thing, of course, is has the crypto space been washed out? And over this weekend, we saw that Bitcoin fell, depending on what exchange you were looking at, 5,700, 5,800. And I was texting a friend of mine who's kind of a Bitcoin skeptic, and he was asking me, well, do you think it's going to go to 4? It's broken 6 and all that kind of stuff. And, my opinion was, well, I think people just broke it. I think they pushed it below 6 as a to run the stops, right? That's a classic. You push something down below a known support level, and then you get to scoop up all the cheap shares when everybody panics and sells. You know, that everybody that had a
Absolutely
stop.
correct.
Yeah. And so then we had a really quick bounce. And so there's a lot of technical analysts out there who are saying Bitcoin's going to go to 3,000, 1,500, you know, whatever. And it's an interesting debate, right? But I tend to think that a lot of the speculative excess has been washed out of the crypto space. And so, you know, I'm kind of telling my family members, you know, now looks like a good time to start acquiring it, you know, like just buy a little bit every month, you know, and then forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the time to run for the hills. It's the time to be smart and vigilant. Agreed.
Yeah.
And take advantage.
Yeah.
There's some fire sales out there.
And what's amazing to me is, okay, gold's pretty beaten up, silver's beaten up, the cryptos are beaten up, agricultural commodities are beaten up. These are all things that I think have intrinsic value, especially when you compare it to fiat, and yet they're all trashed. Many of them are at multi-year lows. So it's like a really big opportunity to start putting some capital to work again. And if you put it in over time, you don't have to worry about whether you caught the absolute bottom. And you know, if you're not trading, if you're just trying to acquire a capital base in these things, then now's a good time to start doing it. You know, or at least start looking at it. Ask yourself, what do I want to own in 5 years? And if you want to own it in 5 years, maybe should I start buying it now? Those are good questions.
Absolutely. Very well said. Charles Hugh Smith of twominds.com. Charles, thank you so much for being on and sharing your insight with us. We value your work and your ideas, sir. Solutions to the max, Charles. That's what we love about you.
Well, I got some books. I put some books on sale. Get a job, build a real career, investing in unconventional times. I mean, I got a couple of books out there. I dropped the price to like $2.99 on Kindle, and you know, nice. $9.95. So, anyways, it's a good time. Check out my books. There's free chapters and stuff on my site. You can read the first chapter for free. See if you want to buy the book or if you get any value out of it. So, thank you very much, V. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, folks, for listening in. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. And with that being said, CJ, take it away.